All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're cracking open Andrew Huberman Decoded, and I'm joined by Anna from University 365.
Hey.
And, well, you know Huberman, right? His work. I mean, everyone's talking about him.
Yeah, he's everywhere these days.
Exactly. So this deep dive is all about really pulling out the practical stuff, stuff we can actually use.
Yeah, I think that's what's so great about this book. It's very actionable.
Totally. So where do we even start with Huberman? Like, there's so much.
Yeah.
Dopamine, sleep, vision.
Yeah, he covers a lot. I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways is really understanding dopamine.
Right. Like everyone talks about dopamine, but what does it even mean?
Well, it's really about motivation, but it's not just about pleasure. It's more like the anticipation, the drive to get something.
So like that feeling of wanting something.
Exactly. But here's the thing. If we're constantly chasing those dopamine hits, like with social media or junk food.
Oh yeah, those quick fixes.
Exactly. It can actually backfire.
Wait, so like those things can actually make us less motivated in the long run?
Yeah, think about it like this. Your dopamine system, it's like a muscle. If you're constantly overworking it, it gets tired, fatigued.
So you're saying we need to train our dopamine system?
In a way, yeah. It's about finding that balance. Instead of those quick bursts, think about setting realistic goals, things you can actually achieve.
Okay, so break it down into smaller steps.
Exactly. And each time you hit one of those smaller goals, you get a little dopamine boost, and that reinforces the positive cycle.
Oh, so it's like a reward system.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not just about external rewards. Huberman also talks a lot about finding satisfaction in the effort itself, like enjoying the process.
Oh, I like that. So it's like the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And that ties in really well with his emphasis on effort-based rewards. It's about finding that satisfaction in the effort, in the learning, the growth.
But how do we actually do that? Like it's so easy to get caught up in wanting the end result.
Right. It takes practice for sure. One way is to really focus on the process, like let's say you're learning a new skill, like playing guitar.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
So instead of just focusing on playing a song perfectly, focus on how your fingers are moving on the strings, how the chords sound. Each time you practice, you're getting a little bit better.
Yeah, so it's like celebrating those small wins along the way.
Exactly. And those small wins, those are your effort-based rewards.
Oh, I see. I like that. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Huberman is also really into stress, but he doesn't see it as a bad thing.
Yeah, it might seem counterintuitive, but he actually thinks stress can be beneficial.
Wait, how so? Isn't stress supposed to be bad for us?
Well, stress is really just a physiological response, right?
Hmm.
It's meant to help us adapt to challenges.
So it's like our body's way of getting ready for action.
Yeah, exactly. And Huberman's point is that instead of fearing stress, we should see it as a signal, like a cue to use our coping mechanisms.
So like, don't freak out, just deal with it.
Yeah, basically. And the more we practice dealing with stress, the better we get at it.
Makes sense. Like practice makes perfect.
Kind of, yeah. He talks about how Navy SEALs use stress to their advantage.
Oh, yeah.
They actually use controlled stress in training to strengthen their nervous systems and become more resilient.
Wow. So it's like stress can make you tougher.
Exactly. And for those of us who aren't training to be Navy SEALs,
Yeah, luckily.
right, we can use techniques like controlled breathing.
Like deep breaths.
Yeah, but he specifically recommends a technique called physiological sighing.
Physiological what?
Sighing, it's where you take 2 quick inhales and then a long exhale.
I've never tried that.
It's really effective for calming your nervous system.
Okay, so next time I'm stressed, 2 quick inhales, long exhale.
Exactly. It's like a quick reset button for your nervous system.
I love it. All right, so we've got dopamine, we've got stress. What else does Huberman have in store for us?
Well, he's got a whole section on biohacks, little tweaks you can make to improve your well-being.
Yeah, those are always interesting. Like, what kind of biohacks are we talking about?
All sorts. Like, one of my favorites is super simple. If you're feeling tired or sluggish, just look up at the ceiling for a few seconds.
Seriously, that's it.
Yep. Looking up actually stimulates the part of your brain that controls alertness.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that one. What other biohacks does he recommend?
Another one is practicing self-denial, like delaying gratification.
So, like, resisting that extra cookie.
Exactly. Even small acts of self-denial can strengthen your willpower.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way. Okay, so we've got a lot of tools to work with here.
We do, and we haven't even touched on sleep yet.
Oh, right. Sleep is like Huberman's thing, isn't it?
Definitely. He emphasizes the importance of morning sunlight.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that's really important for your circadian rhythm, right?
Exactly. Even a few minutes of sunlight first thing in the morning can make a huge difference in your sleep quality.
That's amazing.
It really is. It's about working with our natural biology to optimize our well-being.
I love that. Okay, so much to unpack here. We're going to need a lot more time to dive into all of
Yeah,
this.
we've only scratched the
I
surface.
know, but this is a great start. All right, we'll be back in a moment to explore even more of Huberman's insights. Welcome back. We're deep in Huberman territory here, still unpacking all this amazing stuff from Andrew Huberman to Decoded. Before the break, we were talking biohacks.
Oh, yeah, those little life upgrades.
Right, like remember that ceiling thing?
Yeah.
So simple, but it's supposed to make you more alert.
Yeah, the upward gaze. I actually tried it the other day. Felt kind of silly, but
Did it work?
honestly, yeah. I think so. It's like you trick your brain into thinking something interesting's about to happen.
Like, hey, what's up there?
Exactly. I guess our ancestors were always scanning for danger, looking up.
So we're kind of hardwired for it?
Yeah, exactly. Huberman's all about using these kind of built-in mechanisms to our advantage.
Makes sense. So what other cool biohacks are in there?
Well, one that really got me thinking was about how we view success.
Okay, how so?
It's not just about achieving goals, he says, but like managing success once you get there.
Interesting. Like success has its own problems.
Right. Like as we achieve things, life gets more complex, and that can actually make us less happy.
Wait, so more success equals less happiness?
It can, yeah. Huberman says we got to build strategies for managing success, just like we manage stress.
So it's like success
Yep.
is a muscle too. You got to train it.
Exactly. And one way to do that is to practice gratitude, like actually taking time to appreciate what you have.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, don't get so caught up in what's next that you forget to enjoy what you already have.
Right. It's so easy to fall into that trap, always chasing the next thing.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, what about vision? I know Huberman's a vision scientist himself, right?
Yeah, he's got a whole chapter on it. One of the things he talks about is spending more time looking at distant objects.
So, like, ditch the screens and look at the horizon.
Exactly. Our eyes are so used to focusing on things close up, like phones and computers.
Yeah, all day, every day.
Right. So looking at things far away, it gives those eye muscles a workout, and that can actually improve your eyesight.
Wow, that's cool. So it's like eye yoga.
Kinda, yeah. And he also recommends taking breaks from close-up work using the 20-20-20 rule.
What's that?
Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
Okay, that's easy enough to remember.
Yeah. It just gives your eyes a chance to rest and refocus.
Smart. Okay, so much good stuff here. But we can't forget about breathing.
Oh, right. Breathing is huge for Huberman.
He's all about that physiological sighing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 quick inhales, then a long exhale. It's like a magic trick for calming down.
I got to try that one. So it basically just resets your nervous system.
Yeah, pretty much. It lowers those stress hormones, brings you back to baseline.
So much better than stressing out.
Exactly. And it's free. You can do it anytime, anywhere.
Perfect. Okay, so much to think about, but we got to circle back to dopamine for a sec. We talked about how chasing it can be a problem.
Yeah, the quick hit.
Right, but isn't some dopamine good? Like,
Yeah.
we needed to be motivated.
Definitely. Huberman talks about that too. It's not that all dopamine is bad.
Okay, good, because I like feeling motivated.
Me too. It's about finding those sustainable sources of dopamine.
So, like, what kind of things?
Well, things that give you a sense of accomplishment, like working towards a meaningful goal.
Or, like, learning a new skill.
Yeah, exactly. Or spending time in nature. Those things can give you a more balanced, long-lasting dopamine boost.
Okay, so it's like quality over quantity when it comes to dopamine.
Exactly. And it's not about never having those quick hits. It's just about being mindful.
So, like, enjoy that cookie, but don't eat the whole bag.
Exactly. It's all about balance.
All right, I like that. But what about when you're already feeling drained? Like, what if you're in a dopamine slump?
Huberman says the first step is recognizing it, feeling tired, unmotivated.
Yeah, I've been there.
We all have. And then it's about taking a break from those dopamine-depleting activities, like too much screen time.
Oh, that's hard.
I know, right? But even just a few hours can make a difference. Or try cutting back on caffeine, sugar.
So, like, a digital detox.
Yeah, kinda. Give your brain a chance to reset.
And what about exercise? I know Huberman's a big fan of that.
Huge fan. Exercise is one of the best ways to boost dopamine naturally.
All right, got to get moving. So much to learn from this guy.
It's amazing, right?
Totally. We've covered dopamine, stress, vision, breathing, And we haven't even scratched the surface.
There's so much more, like the gut-brain connection,
I
neuroplasticity.
know, we could talk about this stuff all day.
Me too.
All
But I think we got to take a break for now.
right, sounds good. We'll be back in a moment to wrap up this deep dive into Andrew Huberman Decoded. Stay tuned. And we're back. It feels like we've been on this Huberman journey for hours.
I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun with neuroscience.
So much good stuff in Andrew Huberman Decoded. But if someone was going to start with just one thing, what would you say is the most impactful? Like, where should our listener begin?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But honestly, morning sunlight. Hands down.
Yeah, that seems to be a big theme for him.
It really is. And for good reason, like even 10 minutes right after you wake up,
Changes everything.
it really does. Sleep, energy, mood, it's like a domino effect.
Totally agree. I started doing that a few months ago, and I'm never going back.
Right. It's amazing how these little things, these like the natural tweaks.
Can make such a huge difference.
Exactly. And I think that's what Huberman's all about, working with our biology.
Instead of fighting against it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we're not machines. We've got these natural rhythms and systems.
Okay, so morning sunlight. Got it. But what about that effort-based reward thing? We talked about it earlier, but how do you actually train yourself to enjoy the process?
It's a mindset shift for sure. It's about recognizing that learning takes time.
Yeah, you're not going to be an expert overnight.
Right. And those setbacks, those moments of frustration, they're actually valuable.
Valuable how?
They give you information, like, okay, this didn't work, so what can I try differently next time?
So it's like failures are just data points.
Exactly. And that data helps you get better, It's all part of the journey.
I like that it takes the pressure off a bit.
Yeah, it's not about being perfect, it's about progress.
Progress over perfection. Man, this whole conversation has been like a therapy session for my brain.
I know, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing how much power we have over our own well-being.
When we actually understand how it all works.
Exactly. And Huberman, he just lays it all out there,
Mhm.
The science, the tools, the strategies.
It's pretty empowering.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm not stuck. I can actually change things.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Andrew Huberman Decoded, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Honestly, just start somewhere. Pick one thing that resonated with you.
Yeah, don't try to do everything at once.
Right. Start small, be consistent, and be patient.
And enjoy the process.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination.
Love it. This has been so insightful. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk, Huberman.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those dopamine levels balanced.